We are live.
Okay, call meeting order at 7:30. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Where you at?
You're slipping.
Where am I at? Where?
You're slipping.
You're slipping, man. There we go.
I mean, you've done it for like 10 years.
I know.
11 years.
Now, the last two have had to remind him. Can you call the roll, please?
I know you guys
Chairman
heard that.
Chicken-Egg,
Yeah, I'm here.
Trustee Hillier,
Yay.
Trustee Pennock.
Present.
Present.
I was writing it down, give me 2 minutes. Municipal Officer Patriarcha.
He's present.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the April 15th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Summary of the work session, please.
During the work session today, we went into executive session to discuss, or under Ohio Revised Code 121.22, to discuss the composition of the fire department and an application for economic development. We reconvened the work session at 6:45. Our law director discussed the recent zoning law changes and the difference in filing in common pleas court and all of the other updates that went along with that, and he will provide additional updates when he receives back from the court. We discussed vacant property along Windrunner Trail, the updates that were done to Haddon Park and the parking in that area, as well as the former landfill site in the northern part of the township. Fire chief discussed Command Vehicle 1, recent damage to Station 1 and the chase car. The service director discussed hiring summer help, the upcoming road paving schedule, OPWC application for next year. Assistant service director discussed the new truck payment, or the new trucks that we need to purchase, and the cemetery wall update along Route 20, and when we discussed the Erie Street extension vacation of that part of the road. The zoning director discussed the driveway apron widening within the township, updated vendor permit costs, meaning peddler permits, and, we didn't talk about noise complaints.
We'll do that now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that now. That's
Okay.
it.
Any old business from the floor? Okay. Any new business from the floor? Okay, we just ask you come to the lectern and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Sandy Hendrickson, and I live at 959 Robin Hood, Painesville Township.
Okay.
I wrote this out because I'm really nervous.
That's all right. Don't
Yeah,
be nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about.
Nothing to be nervous.
Take a
Feel
deep
like
breath.
I'm in school.
Take a deep
Yeah.
breath.
Okay. I grew up in the house that I'm living in right now. When my dad died in 2011, I inherited. Habitat approached me about the property on the other side, and I bought it. And my mistake was probably clearing it because it probably deterred from noise getting through. Well, anyway, I live beside Tommy Percy, and he plays the bass music, and it goes right into my bedroom. And sometimes it even goes into my living room because sometimes I go out there and sleep. I have talked to a construction worker and a fence company, and they both said if I put up a privacy fence, that's not going to help. So I'm kind of messed up there. I have called the sheriff's department a number of times. 2 sheriffs came down one time, and they shut them down. I mean, just the one that came a couple weeks later said he's allowed to do this from
7 to
7
11.
a.m. to 11 p.m. I kind of would like to change the ordinance because I don't think that it's right that I have to tolerate the music coming in my house. I don't have windows open. That's one of the first things that they asked. I said, it's too cold to have windows open. But it's just mainly, you know how you have that bass music and it just beats. Okay, in the beginning, I would walk over with my pajamas and robe in the middle of winter, and I would knock on his door, and, you know, he would turn it down. And then one time he said, you can't hear that. And I said, well, take a walk with me. And we didn't even get halfway to my house. And he said, yeah, that is loud. I mean, I realized that he has a drinking problem, and I feel bad for him. but I don't know what else to do.
Is this those noise complaint you were gonna reference?
Yes, so
And
this is.
plus,
that's-
I get Cliff down there too. And his, which I can live with, he messes around during the day. And then there's another one, a Rainbow, but this is like at nighttime when he does it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the zoning resolution, obviously, as you mentioned, the time is 11 a.m. to, or
7 a.m.
7 a.m. to 11 p.m. You know, I'm sure these two as well, we can sympathize with what's happening there. It's never fun to have, if you're trying to, 11 o'clock, I'm in bed way before 11 o'clock, so
Yeah.
I know on a
Well, even if
weeknight.
you want to go in there and read or watch TV, you still have to
And if it's
tolerate
a
this.
routine occurrence versus a one-off or once a month in the
So
summers.
I think the part of our resolution has some wording regarding normal, how's that, do you have it in front of you, how that
Yes, I
reads?
do.
Well, okay, I was gonna say, yeah.
Section G, number 2, right?
Yeah, she underlined it for me.
So, I mean, ultimately, it's use and operating and permitting for any non-commercial purposes of a loudspeaker, public address system, mobile sound vehicle, or similar devices between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. Such sound, therefore, creates a noise disturbance across residential real property boundary.
That's between 11 p and 7 a, so
Right.
that's that 8 hours overnight.
Right. So, it's tough in terms of like that's the restriction time there.
Was there verbiage in there previously of a normal something?
In terms of like normal noise, a lot of it's just basically driven off of like power tools before 8 a.m., construction, air conditioner noise for disturbances. It's underneath general resolution.
No, I know, but I thought there was something in there that says,
Well, I know at one point we talked, I don't know if it was when Chuck and I were on the zoning commission, we talked about if it was restricted or if somebody
No,
had to
this
have a
is it.
decibel meter.
this is it right here, this is what I was
Became-
referencing. But any sound which endangers or injures safety or humans, animals, annoys or disturbs a reasonable person of normal sensitivities.
What's
That's section L. I was referencing section L, how it defines the noise levels.
disturbance? Okay.
But is that only in the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. or
No,
is that any
that's
time?
No,
that's
that's-
any time.
That's just it's
That's our
based off-
general definitions during any
What
time.
section is that, Kenny?
Section L says noise disturbance was defined as any sound which endangers or
But there's
injures.
a number for the code.
Section 1L. Section 1L states a noise disturbance constitutes any sound which endangers or injures the safety or health of humans or animals. But then it doesn't say or, it just says with a semicolon, then says a noise or disturbs a reasonable person of normal sensitivities or endangers or injures personal or real property. So I don't, I'm not, this is, I guess it's just in the lawyer speak, where you get in that first line after that semicolon, there's no or there, it's a semicolon, so I don't know if that's referencing the first part.
Where are you at exactly?
Section 1, number L, or letter L.
I'm not on the same.
No.
Okay.
What section of the zoning code?
Section, zoning,
If you're on the homepage.
Yeah.
Zoning
Under general
section what? What,
So
this
it's
is
not.
R2,
It's
right?
a general resolution underneath the community on the
Yeah, it's
website.
not-
Okay, it's,
Oh, not by section.
so because there are commas within
it's
the,
not, it's a
the
semicolon.
three different,
Yeah.
it's 1, 2, or 3. So noise disturbance is either any sound which endangers or injures the safety,
There should be an
Or
or
health.
after that, shouldn't there? Right? Or, because there's an or
Or.
after,
a noise or disturbs no, you don't need an or.
oh, you don't, okay.
A noise or disturbs a reasonable person of normal sensitivities or endangers or injures personal or real property. So a noise disturbance could be one of those three things.
So I would, my question then is the second one, annoys or disturbs a reasonable person of normal sensitivities. I would what she's referencing fall within that?
I think there's a good argument that it does, and if that's the case, what I'm reading, you have to go to the contact the county sheriff.
Which she has done.
Yeah, but then you have to.
And they say that there's nothing they can do.
Well, then what you do is you show them this ordinance. And
Well,
say-
is that
because-
something,
So
Sean, can you
We are
So-
now full circle. Ha-ha. So one day I met Sandra, and then now Sandra calls me on things, and that's perfectly fine, and I enjoy it. So this populated. I gave Sandra this to go because one sheriff comes by, adjusts the problem. The next sheriff comes by, does
So
not
it's
adjust
not
the
a problem.
I have reached out to the sheriff's department for a feedback. Still haven't heard anything, Sandra. So ultimately, she's here just voicing to
Sure.
you gentlemen for this reason, and obviously now it is definitely dated here. So saying, hey, during this meeting it was discussed. Can we please follow up on this? I mean, in section 2, there's the
That's prohibited. I get that.
but that's what I'm saying. But like where it says that in addition to the outline, no person shall unreasonably may continue to cause or made those noises. So that would basically be it. So I just think this may be like an education thing for each sheriff, kind of like with the
Well, that's what I was going to get. Is this an
Yeah.
opportunity where our legal and you can have a meeting with
Whoever our
at the
contact is
whoever
now.
contact is at the sheriff's office, whether that's chief or whoever, to say, can we go over this and show you section L?
Yeah.
To say section L, that second sentence, annoys or disturbs a person of reasonable normal sensitivities. To say, hey, this is 9:30 at night. This
is not reasonable.
seems like
Yeah.
this is not
Right.
reasonable. Can we have this addressed permanently,
Can't
right?
remember your guy's name, I forgot it, but.
Right.
What's the, can I, Sandra, the
Pardon?
address? Where,
9:10.
The address of the person,
yes.
943 Robin Hood. It's like Marcus Thomas, another name Percy.
And you're 911?
959.
I'm
959. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a discussion with like Chief Deputy Izzo or whoever's in charge of road patrols now.
It's definitely an education to because this needs to be clarified that this they're going to have to use
Yeah.
and it's going to be different because everybody's going to have a different view
I
on
think
what's
I
normal.
would
But
100% agree, and I don't think her case is unique in this situation, but I just think throughout the township, I know how my 3 years of tenure have been here, and I just know how the summer's probably going to go with new developments going in,
sure, it's going to be a
things
lot of
spiking up, and kind of where it's going. I would rather have the sheriff on board. That's basically where.
and there has to be a there when especially with a township, there's always this blend of cities are in our opinion cities are overregulated, and that's the great part about living in a township. So we don't want to put too many regulations in place to give people the freedom of use of their property, but when you are in community and you have neighbors, there is some responsibility to, and you're not on a 5-acre parcel of property where you kind of don't have these issues. There's a blend, there's a balance of both of those things when you're in more of a what we call an urban township, right, where we are, where you have neighbors right on top of each other, and not, we're
Yeah,
on
but I
now.
have like 2.5 lots between me and him.
Roughly 112 feet between each.
So then I think that might be a case to really dive into this section L here, right? To say, look, there's even 2 parcels separating, and there's still this noise that's disturbing.
Two parcels and a paper street, yeah.
Right, and a paper street, right. So I think our next step would be that having our zoning director and our legal have a meeting with the sheriff's office to kind of discuss this, and so we can find some common ground on what they make sure everybody within the sheriff's office is educated on this. And then, and they do a great job for us all the time. So we just want to, maybe this is an opportunity where they do have a lot of new deputies as well. So maybe this is an opportunity just to have a discussion with them to kind of set some parameters that they can convey to all of the deputies on the road that are responding to these calls that, hey, this is what how this should be interpreted for the township and how it should be enforced. So I will say, I don't think we're in a position where we want to rewrite our entire zoning resolution.
Okay.
Not that you're not important, but
As long as the noise can stop, I would really appreciate it. I mean, because when I had knee surgery, I was on Percocet and it was still keeping me awake. I mean, it was like, I can't describe. I invited the officers in, the last one that said, that he can make noise from 7 a.m., whatever. I said, come in and listen to it. It's in excess here.
Right.
When you have a sound machine on and a TV on and you're trying to just get it all drowned out and you got this bing, bing, bing.
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are you hearing So like with music, I know the bass goes through walls.
Mhm.
So, and I could relate to that because my neighbor likes to hang out at their hot tub and I could hear the bass and my bedroom's right there. So I understand that portion. But are you hearing the music or are you just hearing the bass?
I'm hearing the bass.
So the bass is the issue. So if you go outside and you're listening, you don't hear the music?
No, I generally just hear the boom, boom, boom.
Even outside you'll hear that? Because I know
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
I've gone outside and I don't hear the bass. I go in the house and now you can hear
Resonates through the,
it hits the
construction,
wood,
right.
it goes through the construction, now you can hear it at a greater.
When I walked over to his house a couple of times, yeah, it was bass.
Today still. Yeah, so I think to answer where we're at with it is, the sheriff's office is our law enforcement agency in
Right.
Painesville Township. So they are tasked with enforcing and our resolutions and laws. So this would be a discussion that we'll have with them. It's
I
not going to be
appreciate it.
immediate, but this is something that I think we'll have that discussion with them. Try to find some common ground so they know where to go, and have some continuity amongst all of the deputies, if as much as possible, to enforce this resolution when it applies. Sounds
Okay.
like if you're that far away and it's ongoing, that maybe there could be some adjustment enforced for that property owner still enjoy his property and his life without necessarily negatively impacting yours at
Right.
10 o'clock at night, right?
Right.
So I think, and especially summer's coming, windows will probably be open, so it's going to be, even
Right.
Well, and it's going to be important that they enforce uniformly. That,
Right.
I mean, 'cause if
It's
not,
gonna
that
be the officer's interpretation.
it then
'Cause
creates.
when you read that statement, he's the one enforcing it.
But I don't. What I'm saying is if he's just taking the
The 11
7,
to
8,
7,
11 p and
then that's not
drawing the line,
blanket,
right? So we
understood.
have to make sure that they understand that there's all these definitions encompassed in that.
Okay,
So I think that's the first step, right? And go from there. And Sean, you've been in communication with Sean, so he can kind of keep you updated as we move along. But I think it definitely warrants some attention, at least, to see if
Thank
we can
you.
find some common ground for you.
Appreciate it. Can I have my thing back?
Oh, you sure can.
So that way I will.
Yeah.
That's the only copy I have.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Is there anything else? You're good?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
All right. Any other new business?
Hi, I'm Rosemary Twarrock. I do not live in Painesville Township, but I'm a volunteer with Lake County Community Cats, and I was hoping to talk about what used to be a program that we had with the township, whereby the township had a fund set aside for residents who wanted to spay or neuter their feral cat colonies that they were caring for. And so I've talked to Sean, and he's unaware of the problem, of the program. So when Harley was here, that's when we were working with her. We have the forms, and I can tell you the name of the program. It was called Collaborative TNR Program. And the form is on the township letterhead. So my question is, does the program still exist? And if so, we'd like to help the residents of the township to manage their feral cat colonies.
Well, so either Sean or Holly, if you want to just, again, kind of tell us what was in place before and where we're at with that, so we can kind of all be on the same page so we can move forward from there.
Yeah, so this stemmed because I missed a couple calls from her, and she wanted somebody from the township to come speak. I think you guys have an anniversary or an event coming up, and I was like, ooh, I've slightly heard of this when I originally started with Harley, but in my 3 years here, I have never seen this come full circle or anybody really come in. I think I remember one call and it was somebody wanting to get their cat neutered.
So let's real quick, let's back up and start to what we originally approved. Let's put that out there so it's.
So after digging and finding some things in old folders tucked away, I believe there was, due to rising complaints regarding feral cat population in Painesville Township community, Lake County's lack of enforcement actions on the regulations, and the township's inability to create regulations addressing feral cat colonies, caregivers' responsibilities. I put together this skeleton of proposal. This proposal roughly outlines the incentive-based program township could implement to address the growing concern. The scope is 1-for-1 matching program. Township would pay for one spayed or neuter, one feral cat for every feral cat a resident pays for, spayed or neutered. Painesville community cats would trap, transport, arrange medical care, and release. Sponsorship would be like a component, a concerned resident not associated with the colony's care may sponsor the feral cat within the colony. This is all confusing to me for cats. So Painesville Township would match the sponsorship. Painesville community cats would receive sponsorship payments. I would only apply to colony situations to be verified by the representative from Painesville Community Cats. Budget's expected to be between 500 to 1,000 for 15 to 40 cats. That's what I found, and that's dated 2019. So that was pre.
And so,
So
so our maximum outlay we approved was 1,000 per year, right? Because we did approve something, right?
And, yeah, there were no expenses.
So we approved up to $1,000 per year that we would do this match program.
Yes.
Up to this point, we've not had one application submitted for matching funds to do this.
Okay, is that the only obstacle? I mean, it's like, do the funds still exist?
We've approved up to $1,000, so we
Okay.
know that this is an issue in the community, and that's how we determined that the township would be willing to match up to that 1,000 to help address this issue. My point being is that is since 2019, since we approved that expenditure of $1,000 per year matching funds, we have not had any request for $1.
Some of the feedback that we got was that the process was complicated, people didn't understand it, and that was one of our objectives in having a workshop. It may or may not be at Morley Library, and so it will address Painesville City folks as well as township folks. But that was our objective, to get the word out there, and I thought someone from the township could talk about it better than I could, and could say, this is the process, you fill out this form, and this is what we do. So, as far as people not applying, I just got involved with community cats in 2019. And so, I don't know what happened, but somehow it fell through the cracks.
Mhm.
And we'd like to revive it. So, number one, can Sean or anyone come and speak at our workshop?
He's not going to like this, but I think that he'd be best to go since he has firsthand knowledge and would be the one essentially administering this.
Yeah.
So I think we need to determine, it sounds like he's a little convoluted anyways, so.
Yeah.
like I said, we have a new employee, and I was digging through files today.
Right, so he just.
I literally just found this, so I'm like,
And so the idea, I think, was right that if there was a feral cat colony in Painesville Township, and somebody wanted to do the TNR program, and there were 6 cats, if there was a Painesville Township sponsor that was going to pay for 3, that we would match it and pay for the other 3.
Okay.
Whether that's your organization or the neighbor, whoever. So I think if there's 6 cats and the cost is $500,
Right.
we present us with the bill of $500. We would pay for the $250 as long as somebody else was covering the other $250.
But I think
Okay.
I don't know if there was upfront stuff to confirm that it was in Painesville
That would
Township.
be my question.
it just reading this, not to cut you off, Holly. I mean, it's like, there's. I did. Sorry.
He didn't mean to.
Listen, I am in charge of this program.
I don't want it.
So there's definitely a checklist here for this. There's a lot of
So
detail.
you have colonies in other communities and or Painesville Township already,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there would be reporting involved. I know in my
Yes.
previous life, We also worked with Community Cats, not Painesville, it was a different community.
Yes.
They provided a quarterly report of all of the colonies that they were overseeing, how many they trapped, how many were spayed, neutered, how many were released back, how many, if it grew, if it shrunk, where the colony was, you know. who's-
Mentor and Mentor on the Lake,
Right.
we work with them. So,
So something like that would probably be a
And we're more than what we've approved that up to 1,000 to help this issue that exists
okay,
in Painesville Township. So I think it's just a matter of Sean familiarizing himself with what's there, so he has more of a grasp of how it would work.
Yep.
Then I think at that point it would be advantageous for him to then take his knowledge and share it with you and your group, so that everybody's on the same page.
we would love that. And just for the record, in the past couple of years, we went from being Painesville Community Cats and Mentor Community Cats and Fairport Community Cats, and now we're all just Lake County.
Well, that makes
Community
sense,
Cats.
right?
Just FYI.
But I think that it's important that we address, when you do that, the reporting has to be specific to
Yep.
Painesville Township in order to get those funds that we have allocated
for
Or
a colony
approved.
that is
in Painesville Township, right?
Okay, yes.
And their organization tracks all that and then sends us that information. and
Correct.
Reimburse them directly.
50% of a match.
That- No.
That's fantastic.
Residents don't
Yeah.
have to call us or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Your organization can handle it. I believe would be the easiest way
Yeah, sure.
to kind of streamline the process, because I think it would, for our sake, Sean's sake, and yours, if there's just one point of contact on each end instead
Yeah.
of a bunch of residents coming in and doing that thing, everything flows through you, because I'm sure you guys have the resources in place to put all of that together to make it efficient and ensure that all the parameters are met.
We can easily do that. We're gonna be we're gonna be doing the trapping, so we're there.
Right.
Interfacing
So it makes sense
with the
for you to
residents.
handle all of that back end with
Yeah.
the township.
It's not a problem.
So I think at this point he'll familiarize himself a little more with that, and then you guys can
Wonderful.
get in contact and go from there.
And
Okay,
I will say the borders of Painesville Township are unique. So I mean, even if you just go into, well, the Lake County GIS has boundaries of communities, but I think if you search Google Maps and just type in Painesville Township, it'll give you the outline of the township, and it is unique with how we're
Okay,
intermingled with
that
the
would
city.
be
Their
helpful.
reporting will also, they report the address.
The address, and we
So
can determine if that's a
Okay.
township resident
Okay.
or address or a city
City.
or Mentor or Grand River or Fairport, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
I can
Perfect.
email you an updated map
Yeah, that would help too, right?
That would be
of
great.
high resolution.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's one more.
Okay. I think we have one more left, right?
They're all
They're
here
with
for
us,
fun.
so it's
My name's Carl Kleckner. I live at the end of Abels Avenue over there by Lake Tran. I got two things I want to bring up. The first one is the easy one. There's four of us out at the end of Abels. We've all lived there like 40 years. We pay for a street light, and there's no street light. Kind of like a street light. It's pretty dark down there.
Okay.
Don't know on your policies on dead-end streets, but we'd like a street light.
I mean, if you're paying, yeah, if we're paying for one, by all
The other
means.
thing is, I own land back on Abels, or on Grand Haven. And I'm sure you guys saw the video of the ATV. I've been dealing with this for 18 years. I want it stopped. If you want to cut a trail from the end of Abels across Struthers into Lake Tran and stuff, you go right ahead. But you keep them off my property. And the only way you're going to do that is shut the damn door, cut off the access. And there's a couple of things you can do. You can pound stakes at the end of their trail, put boulders. You can do what Lake Tran does. But you got to do something.
Who is this that he's referencing? Is it our property or personally owned property?
So,
And what it is Grand Haven goes down, you got Struthers. Struthers is on the map, but it's not on the ground.
it's
Not-
classified as a paper street.
Yeah, I know. So it's our.
It's your property. The woods comes in, it's grown back since they put it in, so it comes about halfway on your property. And there's an opening that they go in. I sit in my front room, I can tell you where these guys are. I can sit in the front room and look at that ATV that cut through my yard. I've called 3 times this year. I want it stopped.
So and we understand that. So I think I think your daughter sent, was it your daughter sent us an email?
Yeah, she's the polite one.
That's all right. That's all right. So I think, you know, what I explained to her and is that
Yeah, I heard those things. Yours was good legally. I could tell who your dad was. The other one was an asshole at answering. And they're not going to move away. They sell these things, they keep them. They've been riding back there for 50 years. Your old man got them to quit shooting back there and hitting our houses by making them put up gates, and they stopped the traffic.
Mhm.
You shut the door, you stop the access.
So what I was going to get at is, so this is something we'll have to discuss, but I just want to, for if we put something across our property, right? Once, if we did something on our property that would stop the flow through our property, the paper street,
Right.
once they exit our property on other personal property, and this is kind of what I was addressing with your daughters. Once
they come on my property, it's my problem. I understand that.
Okay, and I'm
It's
not
me
meaning
and
that
the
to be like
sheriff.
it's your problem. I'm just saying
I know.
we have no enforcement in
It's
that.
me and the sheriff.
Yes, exactly.
Well, the sheriff ain't going to catch them all.
Right.
Because some of these guys live within 2 blocks and they're gone. And 3 times I've called, ain't nobody showed. And I don't expect it because it's not a high priority. But you could do what the parks do. Just call the line shop on Chester Street. They'll give you as many pieces of telephone poles as you need. Cut them 5-6 feet long, drill holes in the ground, run a wire, and you cut off your access.
Well, and that's what
There's
I think.
something you can do.
Right. So I think that's also what I was getting at. This is a discussion we could have with our service department to say
Yeah.
what would be the most efficient way to at least manage our property, right? What happens once they go? If we,
They're not going to go across the street because that ditch is deep.
Okay.
They come on mine. The
Okay.
trail starts on mine. The opening's on my side.
Okay.
You could put boulders at the end. There's enough trees that if it can't run over them, they don't go in.
Okay.
But it might look like shit. I would probably do what the park's doing, just do something across, make it look good. Drive through the park system, you can see what they do.
Well, and that's what I was going to get at. So this is something we discussed with our service director and our assistant service director to say, hey, how can we essentially turn off the faucet here on our property?
Right.
And if they go on personal,
it would be inexpensive, and you could just do it. The city would give you that shit for free.
Yeah. So that I think that's something we'll discuss with them, and by all means, if it's within our power to do it, and we can do it, it's something that we should address because it is on our property too.
Right.
And if it is happening on our property, again, it's one of those things that we know it's happening.
Your dad went with the liability thing with the shooters.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he got them to put a gate up. Now, it used to be wetlands next to Struthers. When they built Lake Tran, it was a certified wetlands according to people in these shares at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys drained that last year when they put that last extension in. It's another reason why we want the light, because we got shit coming through that woods I've never seen before.
Okay. So Holly will work on the street light. We can address that.
That'd be cool.
And then, and aside from that, we'll work with our service director and assistant service director to say, what can we put there to at least manage it on our
You
property?
don't need concrete and shit
Yeah,
like that.
sure.
So do like the parks. They just put them post-ins and a wire and it'll
Right. What can we do?
eliminate the
Even if,
problem.
yes.
Lot line, you guys have saved your ass, and it's on me.
Okay.
And I can deal with that with the sheriff, because I can do some things you can't.
Yeah. So I think right.
So are we talking at the end of all of the streets, or are we just talking at the
They
end?
should be at the 3.
Abel's and Grand Haven.
Abel's and Grand Harbor, which is our paper street.
Well, you got Morale. You got 3 of them there, but they don't go through those other ones anymore. They go through Grand Haven.
So you're at 445.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I
you,
don't
the
know
red
any-
box. Is that him?
Yeah, I know it's 2 green lots that the arrows on. That one there is the one they're cutting across.
Street lighting assessments on there?
Yeah. So his street lighting assessment's 11, which would go up if they added a light, just because the light is
It
further
will go
down.
up.
But are they entering in through Grand Haven? I'm trying to get an understanding from a
Yeah, we
zoning
wanna-
standpoint.
What they're doing is where that arrow is, right? Put that arrow back. Yeah, right
Right here?
there.
You can walk over the screen
Yeah, you're
and
fine.
point if you'd like to help.
Because if we cut off the road, they're still gonna
This
come
is
to the
Struthers
That's
here.
fine.
He's okay with that.
He just because then he can.
You're good.
It's not ours.
What they're doing is they're coming out the corner.
Okay.
When the ditch is real muddy, that's when they come up into my yard. I got a hill here, and the young kids like to go up the hill and hit the ditch and go up in there and shit. But right now, they're going right here. My kids are standing here. If you compare it across the street, they would have been 20 feet in front of there.
Right.
That's bullshit. Nobody should put up with that stuff. Now, I put no trespassing signs up because the sheriff says to.
Correct.
They run them over still. You gotta close the door, man.
Yeah.
It's the only way you're gonna do it.
Right, and we can't close the door on your property, but we can manage
I
our,
take care of that myself.
right,
Believe me, I got ways I can do that. But you got like a big welcome sign here. You gotta get rid of the sign.
okay, I get what you're
That's
saying.
all I'm saying.
All right, so we'll have an internal discussion to see how we can address our property. No, I can't tell you what we can do, but it's something that we will have a discussion
I
about.
don't expect it right away, but like I say, I've owned back there for 18 years.
Yeah,
At least one of the lots, and
okay.
I don't think I'm gonna wait until I die until we take care of this problem.
We'll try and make it before that to see if we can do
I
something.
hope so.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, all right.
Can you just, how do you notify people?
Well, we'll have a discussion with them. Have you been in Sean, have you been in contact at all, or
The first notification was a video that I had
that from
seen.
his daughter? Okay. Well, if you want to give Sean your contact information, or Holly, we just with the
It'll
township.
be my daughter. I don't own a computer, so,
Okay, we have the email.
Yeah, we've got her email.
okay.
So we'll communicate once we come up if and what we can do. We'll let you guys know, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thank you. All right. That's it. Okay. Lake County Sheriff's Office is not present. Department reports. Service Department. Okay. Fire. Zoning.
We started a new program with cats that I'll be heading up and I'll report on next month.
Okay. And the noise thing, we handled that.
I believe we handled the noise thing.
Okay. Legal.
There's a number of items I need to go over with you guys. If we could stay for another half hour. I'm joking. I have nothing new to report.
Okay. Administrator.
Nothing additional.
Fiscal officer better not have anything.
Nothing at this time, sir.
Okay. Trustees, well, we got 2 pages to make. All right, I need a motion to adopt a resolution determining that certain real property located in Painesville Township, Ohio constitutes a blighted area as such terms are defined by Ohio Revised Code sections 1728.01E and 1.08 for purposes of declaring improvements to be used for residential purposes, to be a public purpose with respect to the authorization of a tax increment financing program under Ohio Revised Code section 5709.41 and declaring emergency.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the administrator to apply and execute all necessary documentation for the 2025 Community Development Block Grant.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt a resolution to purchase holiday decorations not to exceed $35,000 using NOPEC Energized Community Grant funds.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt a resolution that the Painesville Township Board of Trustees recognizes the broad duty of the affirmatively further fair housing and the month of May 2025 Fair Housing Month in Painesville Township, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt a resolution to approve payment to Titan Asphalt and Paving in the amount of $13,870 for parking lot at Haddon Park.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt a resolution to approve payment to VL Chapman Electric in the amount of $16,912.92 for electrical work at Fire Station 1.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt a resolution to approve payment to Fit and Finish in the amount of $12,421 for road repairs on Christina Court.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to adopt a resolution to approve payment to Phoenix Safety Outfitters in the amount of $14,472 for turnout gear for the fire department.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this next one is under the limited home rule resolutions. I need a motion to adopt resolution LHR 2025-0001- nothing after that. Creating a registration for foreclosing mortgaged property and vacant property. Providing for purpose, intent, and applicability of the resolution requiring the registration and maintenance of certain real property by mortgagees and vacant property owners, providing for severability and an effective date. Now this is a first reading.
Correct. So ideally, is it could wait till the next meeting so that it could pass at that meeting.
So this is the first reading, and then we will have a second reading, and then motion to adopt at that meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
Discussion though.
Yeah.
So there was some things in here that I wasn't 100% sold on. So between now and the next reading, get them resolved?
Correct.
And what do you do then? Do you
And then what happens at that point is we would amend this resolution to incorporate the amended language, if there are amendments, okay? And then it reverts back to the first reading at that time. But then you can have a vote to waive the 2 readings
Okay.
and then pass it at that meeting as well. Okay?
So we don't need a motion to
You
table,
don't
this
need
is
to
just
do,
a first reading,
correct,
okay.
it's a first
All
reading.
right, so that was the first reading, we will address it for second reading at the next meeting.
Is that gonna be then for, we're good for discussion in the work session, if there's things that need to be?
Yeah, can we discuss this at the work session, cause there's some clarifications on a
If you'd
couple
like to
items.
send me your concerns prior to, and I can get research done prior
That's
to
a
that.
good idea.
I think that's a good
I
idea.
like that, that's a great
That'd be
idea.
awesome,
Please and thank you.
and we
Trustees,
appreciate your support.
anything else?
Negative.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is the meeting on May 20th or 27th?
27.
27th.
The website needs to be updated.
I usually do that after this meeting.
I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir. I
Okay.
appreciate your.
So the second reading will be May 27th meeting at 11 a.m. All right, anything else?
Negative.
Motion to adjourn at 8:13.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Sign that.